Greetings fellow simmer and welcome to the reaction review with me, GripperSim. This week we're going to be looking at three things as well as the obvious Xbox scenario. So first of all, I've been doing a little bit of thinking. I know that's dangerous, but I've been thinking as to why there is not a lot of aircraft out yet for Microsoft Flight Simulator. While there's tons of scenery coming out every week, there's very few aircraft, and we're going to investigate that. Secondly, I have been doing some investigation as to add-ons for Flight Simulator. Now, there's one coming out and it's going to be called FS Realistic. I know the Flight Simulator is quite realistic anyway, and you're thinking, how much more realistic can you make it? Well, yes, it can be done. So we're going to look at FS Realistic. And also, why you are here, of course, is because you want to find out about Flight Simulator for Xbox, because Flight Simulator will be out for Xbox, and we're going to be looking at when it's coming out, and we're going to be looking at how can you fly a Flight Simulator on an Xbox with an Xbox controller? Or do you even need one? Or do you even need a PC anymore? An expensive $3,000 PC to play Flight Simulator anymore? Yeah, GripperSim investigates. All that coming up. But first of all, I have a favour to ask all my viewers, my members and my subscribers. The reaction review, the name of the channel, Reaction Review. Now, GripperSim will always be GripperSim, I'll always be GripperSim, but the name of the channel, Reaction Review, does not sit well with me. It means nothing. So if you're kind of interested, let me know in the comments what you think the name of the channel should be. Something with sim in it, sim or simulation. Like I was thinking, simming crazy madness or something like that. Not Flight Simulator necessarily, but just keep the simulation in there. So let me know in the comments. I always read the comments, and thank you for commenting. So why is there way more sceneries coming out for Microsoft Flight Simulator than actual aircraft being released by third-party developers? Now, if you're new to flight simming, there's more than enough aircraft for you to deal with, actually, to be honest with you. What I'm really talking about is study-level aircraft simulations, like 737s, for example. So they actually fly like the real thing. All the logic is there, with all the buttons and switches, etc., etc. Well, I reached out to some developers, and they said, well, the SDK, we got to learn it. It's been updated all the time, and it's just getting to where it should be around about now, and it slowed things down a little bit. So that's why there's not a huge amount of study level aircraft out there. When I mean study level, you can actually practice for the real aircraft, and the logic will be exactly the same. Now, there's plenty of stuff coming out. Just Flight are planning new aircraft. PMDG, we're going to have, hopefully sooner rather than later, the 737, and that's study level. That's big. That's going to be huge. Airsoft, the CRJ as well, and many other aircraft. So that's why it's been a little bit slow at the beginning. I was just curious about it, and I thought I'd check it out. Okay, the Xbox stuff is coming up soon, but FS Realistic is going to be an add-on that is coming at some point in the future for Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's already designed for X-Plane 11, and I have to tell you, when they designed this for X-Plane 11, it changed the whole nature of the Flight Simulator. It made it so much more realistic. Now, this is XP Realistic version 2 I'm showing you here, and this is pretty much, I would imagine, what we get in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It has effects for ground roll, ground shakings, head anticipation, neutral movements, over G, airspeed, everything you can think of. Now, what I'm going to do, and it has VR as well, effects for VR, so woo. Anyway, yeah, I'm getting excited about it because it's going to change the whole nature of the Flight Simulator. So I thought I should just point this out to you, and it's coming at some point. On the website, it has xprealistic.com, and you can put your email and they'll send you notifications about when it's coming out. But in any case, I'll take one little detail about this, and this is the head movement. Now, I know Microsoft Flight Simulator have a little bit of head movement in their cockpit, but it's just not the same as XP Realistic, so which we're going to be getting is FS Realistic now at some point in the new year, I'd imagine. So the only way to describe this to you is to show you an example. So here's the X-Plane version of XP Realistic in action. So I'm playing X-Plane 11 here. This is an older video, and just look at my head now, not in my head in the video there in the corner, but the video of my head in the cockpit. You'll see it's not stationary, it's not fixed to the cockpit like it's fixed to nuts and bolts. See the way I turn right a little bit and my head moves slightly to the right? And you'll notice my head is very fluid, and I know it's a very subtle effect, but when you install XP Realistic, or FS Realistic when it comes out, it just changed the whole dynamic movement and feeling of flying an aircraft. Now watch this. I'm going to thump this down really hard, and you're going to see what I mean by one of the effects. Now have a look at this. Boom, my head kind of shook, it kind of shuddered quite realistically, and that's quite good. Here's another example. You'll notice my head moves into the turn. See that? And my head is moving all the time like it would be in real life. Now, again, I got to smack this down because this was one of my crazy madness videos back in the day. And I'm going to thump it down a little bit. And you can see the whole feeling of the flight sim now has changed. Okay? As opposed, there you see? As opposed to this. Now, this is an approach into St. Bart's. I'm not turning an awful lot here, but when you turn, your head is rigid to the cockpit. And you can see here, it's if my head in the sim is fixed to the cockpit. Now, it does have a little bit of head bump here when I touch down. Look. A little bit, but that's it. That's all you get. Now I'm going to turn to the left here, and you notice my head won't kind of move with the turn. It's like I'm fixed rigid to the cockpit. Here's another example. So this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it's brilliant. I'm not putting it down at all, but as you can see here, my head is pretty much rigid and fixed to the cockpit. Okay, now this is a very, very windy day. And your head will be moving around a little bit more, I think, and you'll see now in the next bit of footage. But I'm going to touch down here kind of hard-ish in the bumpy weather, and you'll see what I mean, hopefully. So here we go. It's back. Come on, gripper. Come on, put it down. Come on. Bit of a messy landing, okay? Bit messy. And there we go. There we go. So our head has been rigid to the cockpit. Let's have a look at this with XP Realistic for X-Plane 11. Again, this is into the same airport. Now, as you can see, my head is giving you the impression that we're moving around, the wind is moving the aircraft and me inside it. And my head isn't fixed rigid to the cockpit. And you know the minute we touch down, look, there we go. You know the minute you've touched down, it's not a grey area, you know. And that is just one of the effects that FS Realistic will be giving you when it comes out. So that will be something I'll be keeping an eye on. Now, the big question. Flight Simulator has been announced on the Xbox, and it is coming this summer 2021. Okay, for the Xbox. The big question I have been asked is, Gripper Sim, will it be out in the Xbox, and will I not have to buy a big expensive PC rig to play Flight Simulator? Because a lot of Flight Simulator enthusiasts just buy a big PC just for Flight Sim. That's all. And it costs thousands. The Xbox costs, what, $400, euros, pounds? So let's have a look at the ad that Microsoft put on earlier on this week to announce that it'll be released this summer or next summer, 2021. The summer coming up, you know what I mean. Anyway, I think I could have done a better ad than this if they just gave us the replay functionality that we've been waiting for so long. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make, when they have the replay functionality and it is proper like it used to be, I'll do an ad and you can tell me if it's good or not. I'll do an ad for Flight Sim, just for free, just for the crack, and I'll make it crazy madness. In any case, no, so you've got your Xbox, okay, for $400. How are you going to fly Flight Sim with just an Xbox controller? Well, there's good news. Honeycomb, the makers of Flight Simulator peripherals, and Microsoft have decided to get into bed together and do a little team-up partnership thing. And this is going to be stupendous. This is going to be fantastic. It's really going to be very, very bigly. Very, very bigly. Very bigly indeed. So, so this means you can have your Xbox for, sorry, I was wrong earlier on, it's $499, and all your peripherals, and you can have a Flight Sim without having a big, expensive PC, which is fantastic. No more big, expensive PCs, computers to run your Flight Simulator anymore. You can do it all just on your Xbox, nice and tightly in the corner. So let's have a look at what Honeycomb had to say. I know it's a little bit of old news. I'm catching up.
When developing our products, we focus on creating a modular, multi-purpose home cockpit while staying true to actual cockpit designs. Our award-winning Alpha flight controls launched in the fall of 2019 and features a realistic 180-degree range of motion with smooth and precise control. The Bravo throttle quadrant, which is on the verge of release, is an all-in-one cockpit system. The commercial and general aviation levers that are included can be arranged and configured on the throttle to match the different aircraft and setups that are available within Microsoft Flight Simulator. And to complete the full flight sim setup, we now have the Charlie rudder pedals, which is scheduled to launch mid-2021. We work closely with Microsoft and Asobo Studios to ensure full compatibility with all of our products. And now we're excited to announce that we have signed an agreement with Microsoft to support Microsoft Flight Simulator on the new Xbox Series X and S. Currently, we are in the development stage of our latest products, the Foxtrot Flight Stick and the Tango Foxtrot Stick and Throttle. Our focus has been on integrating as many real cockpit components as possible into the product while utilizing the realism of Microsoft Flight Simulator to ensure a truly immersive flight sim experience. With our current products only being PC compatible, we will also be producing a new version of our Alpha flight controls that will enable the current Bravo throttle quadrant and Charlie rudder pedals to work seamlessly as one on the new Xbox Series X and S.
Right now, most of us can't get our hands on any of this stuff. We can't get our hands on the Xbox. We can't get our hands on the controllers. I know that the other controllers aren't out till later on this summer, but rest assured, stay subscribed, because I will have an Xbox Flight Sim rig set up for you to review and show you. So it's going to be great. But I can't get my hands on any of this stuff. Look at this girl. She's got a free Xbox months ago and an Xbox fridge.
It is!
I know I sound jealous, but I am jealous, and in a bad way. You spoiled bitch.
I want an Xbox fridge as well. Yeah.